What's up, traders? Chris Capri here, 2ndSkiesForex.com. I'm back. First off, two apologies. First one for being gone for a little bit. So not only the holidays, but I've gotten a place in the mountains here, and I'm literally 5 minutes from door to the closest ski lift. So it's just awesome. I'm going to be spending a lot of time this winter skiing, snowboarding, and doing a lot of reading, and just kind of spending some time working on some things, being out in nature. And then the second apologies is the mic. So in the process of the move, some equipment got here and some of it didn't, and all the chaos and everything like that. So my mic, I don't have my normal mic, I just have my headset mic. So I apologize ahead if the sound is off on this one here. So today's video is about how we at Second Skies really change the way you think, trade, and perform. And I'm going to be showing you a post that one of my students in our Advanced Traders Mindset course shared with us, and it was a fantastic post because it showed a level of discipline, it showed a level of self-reflection and awareness, and someone who's really changing the way they relate to their mind, not just in trading but in life. And that's something that I realized that we do differently, is that we don't just change the way you trade, we change the way you think, and not just in trading but in all of your life. So it's almost that you not only become better at your trading, but you also you have a different relationship in your life, and one that is more evolved, and one that is more clear, it is more confident, it is more disciplined. And this post that someone just sent like 2 weeks ago in our ATM course is really a great reflection of that. And I wanted to share it with you because there's a lot of good insights in this particular post that could be a very good reflection of your experience of trading and where you could be and how you could really change your trading performance and your mindset in everything that you do. So I'm just going to read the first few paragraphs of this, and the rest of it I kind of blocked out because he's talking about things in the ATM course that you really wouldn't understand unless you were in there. And so I thought, instead of it just being confusing or anything like that, I thought I'd just block it out. So here goes. He says, yesterday was my 183rd day in a row of meditation practice. I have not missed a day, but I have missed some mornings, about 10 or 12, and then done it late at night before bed. As others have said, my first experience was simply the awareness about how much mental activity is actually constantly going on. That was eye-opening. Even better is the increased awareness and change in my relationship to my own thoughts. I feel less inclined to think my own thoughts are the be or end all be all of the moment. Similarly, I'm less inclined to feel that others' thoughts are the end all be all of any moment or issue that might come up. They are just thoughts, and they come and go. This new perspective keeps me either in equanimity or at least on target with my goals. I don't get pushed or off my path as much as I used to, especially when someone tries to convince me that their view is the only one or is better. Emotions are similar, but a little different to my mind. I am able to see that emotions are just momentary. They fade, so I place less emphasis on them. So there are a couple really good gems in here, and I think once I start to kind of go a little bit in depth to them and start to explain them a little bit, you'll start to see it will kind of mirror or reflect something back to you about where is your mindset in terms of your trading and your everyday life. And so let's kind of get into this. So the first part that was really impressive, 183rd day in a row. So 6 months, and he has not missed a single day of practice. So ask yourself this. How disciplined have you been in your trading? What have you done that was a challenge for you in terms of your trading? Maybe it was writing in your journal every day. Maybe it was doing practice. Maybe it's doing meditation. What is it that you have been able to do 6 months, every single day in a row, 7 days a week, without fail? Is there anything in terms of your trading that you've been able to do that consistently and that well? If I had to guess, and this is just speculation, and I'm totally happy to be wrong on this, but if I had to speculate, I would be willing to bet that less than maybe 10 or 5% of you have been able to do something every single day that is a discipline and a practice every single day, 6 months in a row without fail. I'm willing to bet that very few of you have. And that should tell you something, because trading is a commitment. Whether you are doing it part-time, a couple hours a day, or whether you are doing it full-time, 8+ hours a day, it is a commitment, and it is a skill, and it is something you're going to have to wire into your brain. If it wasn't something that you didn't have to wire into your brain, then you would already be there. You would already be doing what you wanted to do with trading. You would already be trading successfully. You would be consistent. You would be disciplined with your risk, with writing in your journal, with reviewing your trades. You would already be there. But I've talked about this before, and how our brains, from an evolutionary perspective, are not wired to be successful traders. There's nothing in our history, in terms of our brain and our nervous system, that was built specifically for trading. Our evolution didn't depend upon us looking at charts, making buy and sell trades. Our life wasn't dependent upon this. Our existence wasn't dependent upon this. Our survival wasn't dependent upon this. So this is not something that you come with. This is something that you learn, and is a skill that you have to wire into your brain. And that takes consistency, and that takes discipline, and that takes continually renewed effort. Once you've done it, once you've wired it into your brain, then it becomes a subconscious skill or habit. And that means that your brain can do it pretty much automatically. That doesn't mean that you don't experience the tensions of trading, and like maybe you have to make a really important trading decision and there's a lot of emotion on the line, tension and risk, and heart rate's elevated. That doesn't mean that those things don't happen, but they don't take you off the reservation. They don't cause you to veer off course. That's what it is like once it becomes a subconscious habit. And there's more to making something a subconscious habit than just pure repetition. I could get 10 people to repeat the same thing for 6 months, and some people are going to be much more wired and skillful at that than others. And assuming that they all had the same level of intelligence and skill set and experience, you're going to see 10 different people in terms of performance. And that's because there is more than just pure repetition to really building a skill. And trading is a skill that has to be wired. And so this discipline that Kaz here, who's been a member since 2015, it's about a year now, he's shown that for 6 months he's been able to do something every single day. And I want you to just kind of ask yourself, how disciplined have you been with it? Is discipline an issue for you in trading? Especially when those really challenging moments are on the line. How well do you stick to your risk parameters, your journal, your trading strategies? Or do you revenge trade? Do you trade based on emotions? Do you have a fear of missing out and then act upon that? Do you not follow your trading strategy? Do you trade outside of it? If discipline is an issue for you, then that's something that you can change. It just requires the right training and the right amount of practice. And that's something that we teach, both in our advanced price action course and our ATM course. So I want you to just kind of take a look at that and just say, what would it be like for you if you had that level of discipline? How much more could you accomplish with your trading, with your with your skill set, with your life? I want you to kind of reflect upon that for a second, and then just ask yourself, how valuable would that be for you? How much return on investment would you get on that? It's a food for thought there. So the second thing that is really interesting about this post is in the second paragraph, where he talks about how much mental activity is actually constantly going on. And this is a key point to understand. So your brain, all our brains, on average will think about 60,000 thoughts a day. That comes out to about 0.9 thoughts per second. So it's a lot. Now if you think about it, if you're trading just even for 1 to 2 hours, and there's almost 60 thoughts in a minute, you're talking thousands of thoughts just for your 1 and 2 hour trading session. And so I want you to kind of ask yourself this question. And assuming you're not in my ATM course, and assuming you haven't read this answer anywhere, without even looking up, I just want you to guess. Of those 60,000 thoughts, how many of those thoughts do you think you're actually aware of? I want you to think about your answer for a second here. The answer will probably shock you. On average, the average person is only aware of about 5% of those thoughts. That comes out to about 3,000. So 95% of the thoughts that run through your brain, you are actually not even aware of. And this is super important because if there is a lot of mental activity going on, and some of it's necessary and some of it you don't need to be aware of, but a lot of it you do. If a lot of those thoughts that are running through your mind and your mind stream you're not aware of, then how do you think that affects your trading? You've probably experienced it where you consciously or conceptually knew, okay, I shouldn't risk more than 1% per trade, or I know I should follow my trading strategy, or I know I shouldn't revenge trade. And then when the moment comes and the emotions are there and your heartbeat's racing and there's a lot of tension and stress and emotions, you conceptually know what you should do, but you aren't. Why is that? That's because there is certain mental activity going on in both your brain and there's also nervous system activity going on in your body that is affecting your performance. It's causing you to veer off track. When you want to pull the trigger, you're not able to. When you want to get out of the losing trade and know you should get out of it, you don't. This is super important. And what Kaz is saying here is, in the beginning, he was aware, he was becoming aware of how much mental activity is going on through his meditation practice. And this is super important. It also means something very interesting. And this is kind of what he alludes to in his next point here, is that I feel less inclined to think my thoughts are the be-all end-all of the moment. Why is that? Why is this important? When you start to engage in the meditation practice that we've created for traders and for trading, it's specifically for trading. When you start to engage upon that, you start to, with a very short amount of practice, develop a different relationship to your own thoughts. You realize that the thoughts, that some of that mental activity that's going on is not necessary, it's inaccurate, it's wrong, it's distracted, it's based upon emotion, it's based on certain unconscious and limiting beliefs that you have, and they interfere with your trading. And you've experienced this. You've experienced how certain emotions or certain thoughts have really taken you off track and really affected your performance. When you could have had a winner, you got greedy, and then the trade reversed and you lost your money. When you needed to pull the trigger and it was a perfect setup, it was exactly what's in your trading plan, it looked exactly the way it should, and way that you know that probability wise you take this trade 100 times you're going to make money on it. You knew what you should do, and when it came moment to pull the trigger you couldn't. What would happen if those thoughts that and those emotions that derailed you weren't so intense, they didn't distract you so much? What if you didn't believe them so much? What if you were able to pull the trigger when you needed to, regardless of having those things? How would your performance be different? How would your account be different? How many trades could you have won that you didn't even take? Or how many losing trades could you got out of instead of taking a major loss? Once you start to really think about that and quantify that, you recognize that there's some major mistakes you made. You know how much it's cost you. I want you to think about what it would be like to have that money back, to have made a completely different choice in that moment. What Kaz is saying here is that through his practice, he's been able to, as we communicating, look, this is what's going to happen to you. We've given you a roadmap on how to do it, and we explain to you how these things are going to benefit you. And he's experiencing this now. He's saying, I feel less inclined to think my thoughts are the be-all end-all of the moment. And you've had that experience. You've had that experience of being consumed with frustration or anger or fear while you are trading. What would it be like if you weren't so consumed by them? What would it be like if that was just a cloud passing in the sky and you didn't get taken off course by that? What would that mean for your trading? And more importantly, what would that mean for your life? The last part of what Kaz mentions here is saying I don't get pushed off my path as much as I used to. And this is super important. To be able to have a goal and something that you want to accomplish or do, but then to get derailed by it by your own mind and emotions, that's painful. That causes suffering and anguish, and it decreases your confidence. To know that you should do something, that you have to do something but haven't been able to, I know what that's like. And I still have moments of that. But I had a huge portion of my life where that was the most dominating thing in my life. That I was taken off my path and the things that I wanted to do and things I knew that could make money because of my mindset, because of my thoughts and my emotions. What would your life be like if those waves and tides didn't rock your boat so much? If they didn't throw you off course? If there was a goal that you set out to do, that even those things came, you kept moving forward towards that goal, that they didn't disturb you as much. What would that mean to you? Not just for your trading in life, not just for your trading, but your life as well. What would that mean to you if you could do that? If you could just keep on going despite all that? How valuable would that be? And how useful would that be? And what could you accomplish? How much more money could you make in trading? How much more money could you make in your life? How many more things could you create and build and start and improve? Is that important to you? Because if it is, that's what we teach. We have, and I don't think I'm anybody special about this, but I do feel like I have a unique experience. I have a unique perspective on things, and it's not because I'm smarter than the next person. There's a lot of people in this industry that are far smarter than me, more intelligent than me, maybe even have more years of experience. But when I look in the industry, while there may be some traders who meditate, and while there may be some traders who have trading experience and understand psychology or neuroscience, I haven't met a single person out there who has 16 plus years experience in the markets. They've been meditating every single day for 16 years, and they have the neuroscience training of 2 decades behind them. I don't know anybody who has that unique combination. I don't know anybody who has that and has done a 1-year meditation retreat, or done 150 plus weekend meditation retreats, or put in almost 10,000 hours meditating. I don't think that makes me special in the sense that I'm smarter or anything like that. I just think through my experience, I've been given something and gained something that is completely unique. And that's what I offer to people like Kaz and to you, is that we actually change, we really change the way people think, trade, and perform. Not just in trading, but in their life as well. And so if that's something interesting to you, then come check us out. 2ndSkiesForex.com. Check out our Advanced Traders Mindset course. If you feel that you have the skills to make money, you truly have the skills, maybe even you have a strategy that you know in your heart can pull money out of the markets year after year, and yet you feel like your mindset is your biggest obstacle. It is the one thing that is between you and success, that you know you're close, that you have this feeling and sense that you are close, but you haven't been able to make it. There's just like this hurdle that keeps getting in your way, and it doesn't go away. And it always seems to kind of get you in the moments when you really need to be on point. Then if that's you, then check out our Advanced Traders Mindset course. And if you feel like, okay, I have some skills, but I want to improve my skills, and I love to be able to improve my price action skills and my trading skills while working on my mindset, then check out our Advanced Price Action course. We just revamped it this year. We've got almost like 60 plus lessons on it. We got a ton of hours of lessons, not just on trading, not just on how to understand price action and the order flow behind it and what price action context is, but we've also put in a huge section on mindset. Tons of lessons in there and tons that we keep adding. And we share the basics of our meditation practice, and we give you a platform to start that. And we teach you to have a completely different relationship, not just with your brain, but with your mind and mind stream and your thoughts and your emotions. To where when you really take these practices on, you won't be the same person that when you came into this course. If you really do these practices and you really take these lessons on, there is no way the person that you come in as will be the person that you leave as. And if you want to experience real change in your trading and in your mindset, then come join us and become a member, and I'd love to work with you, because that's what we do. I get messages and posts like this all the time. And I want you to just, what would it be like if you could get past these hurdles? How much money would that mean in your account? And how much would that help everything that you do? With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this recording. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will have one next week as well. In fact, I'll be doing one every week until the end of the year. And then I might take a week or two off for the New Year's. But now that I'm in my new home and I had to, the network specialist came out and I got everything set up, my computer's ready to go, you should be seeing me very regularly. And we're going to continue to do new content and give you new things and tools and methods and show you how we trade differently and how we think differently, so that you can experience this for yourself, so that you can start to see real change in your trading and in your life. So with that being said, check us out, 2ndSkiesForex.com, and all the free articles and videos we have. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up below, and also leave a comment on what you got out of this and what you are challenged by and what you would like a video on. Hey, can you do a video on this? Or I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. I love hearing from my community, because I have a great private members community, and also the community at large. You guys have been great as well, and I really enjoy gauging with people who have open minds and who are very serious about wanting to learn and change the way they think, trade, and perform. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to hearing from you. Until then, be well. I hope you experience success and confidence in your mind, and I will see you on the next video.